What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of The Dig, a series dedicated to helping you improve profitability on your farm.
I'm Aaron, and this is Colin.
Let's dig in!
2023 was an interesting year, to say the least. I think Mother Nature gave us a little bit of everything when it came to weather and hurdles to deal with.
Ain't that the truth? Remember all that cold, wet weather we had early in the planting season? And then we had that dry spell through the second half of May and a lot of June. That had us all getting a little on the nervous side. You know, I feel like there was something else that happened this year. You know, I just can't put my finger on it.
Oh, you got your finger on it all right. It was the wildfire smoke coming down from Canada this year. Now, we know that every year has its challenges, and we don't want to spend too much time on this, so let's just move on to the meat and potatoes in this video.
I'm a steak. I'm a potato.
It's top 3 time. Look at our 3 most interesting findings on corn in PFR in 2023.
Number 1, the consistency of 2x2x2. 2x2x2 is still showing its consistent returns after all of these years. Looking at our 2x2x2 versus in-furrow study this year, you'll notice the 60 units of UAN 2x2x2 was our best starter fertilizer program. It gave us a positive ROI, and other than Nebraska, it was the most profitable program at each location.
That wasn't the only study that we saw 2x2x2 shining this year though, Colin. Take a look at our nitrogen system study over here. After 2 years of evaluating different nitrogen systems, the tried and true method of 60 units 2x2x2 and 130 units of UAN side-dressed at V3 has been the best practice. Also, when we break it down by individual locations, you'll notice that we only had one instance where we had a better response with a different nitrogen program, and that was up in Minnesota. Now, that program still included 2x2x2 with the planter. Where things changed was we used urea instead of UAN at V3.
Number 2, side dress depth. You know, speaking of nitrogen, our side dress depth study had some really interesting results this year when comparing an injector nozzle to 2 different depths of knife application over the last 2 years. We've learned that the deeper we put that nitrogen, the better our yields will be. You're looking at our multi-location data right now, but if we switch over here to our individual sites, you'll see that it's pretty darn consistent. Central Illinois here was the only place that we did not see a greater response to the 5 to 6 inch depth. But I would also make the argument that the 2/10 of a bushel between them is pretty minor. One thing I feel we need to consider when we talk about side dress depth is soil moisture, or lack thereof. When we are dry in the months of May and June, soil moisture can be very limited. So if you find yourself in a situation like that, I would really consider using a knife and getting your UAN as deep as you can. Plants need the moisture in the soil to uptake the applied nitrogen. Think of it like planting in dry conditions. A lot of times we may put the seed a little bit deeper in order to chase moisture. Applying our nitrogen in season is no different.
That is a great point, Colin. And you know, I hate to cut you off here, but I've got to tell our viewers about the thing that I'm most excited about from this year's data.
Fine, I was done anyway.
Perfect. Oh, that works out. I was just about to talk about this. So we did this drone versus ground study this year. Let me just get this thing fired up here.
What are you doing? You almost hit me.
I'm so sorry. I think I hit the wrong button or something. I don't know what happened.
That is why we leave it to the certified professionals, not you.
Anyway, the ground versus drone study. So this year we did a study looking at just that, ground rig versus a drone, and making fungicide applications with those 2 different rigs. And I gotta be honest, the results kinda blew me away. 7 ounces of Veltima sprayed at 2 gallons to the acre with the drone gave us a better response than 20 gallons to the acre sprayed with the Haggie. Now this is pretty counterintuitive to what we all know about getting better efficacy with increased carrier rates when spraying fungicides. The individual data really tells the same story as the multi though.
So, why was the drone better?
I'm not completely sure, to be honest with you. There's a few things that come to mind, but I can't say that they are for sure reasons. Now the first one, we are getting a higher concentration of active ingredient on the leaf with the drone. We get 0.27% concentration of Veltima with the ground rig and 2.7% concentration of Veltima when using the drone. Another factor could be that the drone pushes the spray solution down into the canopy with the downdraft from the propellers. And lastly, none of the testing locations had a very significant amount of foliar disease pressure this year. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this episode. You know, we hit some pretty good topics, right? I mean,
Yeah, nitrogen, side dress depth, and you almost hit me with the drone.
the key word there is almost hit you with the drone.
But
I didn't.
I have cat-like reflexes.
I'm sure that played into it a lot. That really played into it. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that little bell icon up there in the corner. That way you get notifications every time we put out a new video. And we will see you again on another episode of
The Dig.
So anyways, if that drone would have hit you, would I have to pay your medical bills or would that be like a workman's comp type thing?
The Dig.
And I gotta be honest, the receipts.
The receipts kind of blow me away.
Okay. You know, we did this drown versus ground study this year.
Drown versus ground.
So we did this groan.
Grown versus drone. I would really recommend using a knife and getting you. One more time. Let's just roll it.